Hello, and good morning again. Yeah, so sorry for not adding that extra fight last time, even though I said I would. But, now that the party idea got roughly put together, let's take a look here. So, you know, Steve's still doing his thing here. But, Vin, Tia, and Toots are essentially hybrid archer, healer, you know, kind of mage support kind of characters. Mosquito and Rapari are crossbows and anatomies. They're just heavy crossbow users, pretty much. So they're the snipers. These are kind of the mid-range supports. Then the last three are essentially cudgels and support. So all of them have some support element to them, minus the crossbows and Steve. But yeah, seems like a good way to do it. So I'm gonna do these, or actually I'm gonna do Glorborza, then gonna do Kadriga, and then we're gonna go from there. So Glorborza's got a good bit of range. I'd like to see Rapari and Mosquito get their skills up here, so they're gonna be off to the side. Was it April? That was that third one? Who the hell was that last one? Okay, you two are archers. Toots is another archer. Okay, take Toots out. These three are over here. Okay, Mosquito and Rapari, and then Luca, April, and Crossback are the front line. I think what we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna take out everyone except for Crossback, I think. Is that the last one? Yeah. This Crossback is a little behind on points, so I'm going to take them out, put the archers in, and then we'll probably just... let's put him in here for the hell of it. April is down a life because I ran another training fight, and they dodged a 93%, so they ended up losing a life at the last second, so that sucks. But, oh well. They don't know what they're running into. Like we've heard of a Steve washing up on the beach. We don't know how to process this. So they don't, and he kills off one of his own guys out of confusion. That's definitely what happened in that cutscene. No questions to ask whatsoever. Now, with how slow they hover, I might end up just leaving it on permanent fast forward, actually. Because they really do not like to move very fast at all. Yeah, that line didn't happen. Steve doesn't ask for mercy. He does not know mercy. Right. So, they do some pretty decent damage. It's actually a little bit odd how high their damage is. But luckily, all their stuff scales pretty well, so they're pretty useful. I'd imagine in base game it'd be kinda similar... Right, that shot didn't exactly work like I wanted it to. I don't have trajectory on anyone yet. Probably won't have the spare points on it for a little bit now. Maybe next part or so. Alright, now, since each of the books has some sort of little iffy thing to it, I'm generally keeping a mix of different parts. So, I kept one with wind because I wanted Balmy Breeze for essentially mass, easy sleeps later. I wanted one on lightning, so crossback, so that we can get galvanized. I think they can use it. And then Luke I left with fire because he's supposed to have fire, and I'm pretty sure it'll have something useful in there. So they're all hybrids to some degree. And doing a pretty good job of it, I think. I think once all's said and done for the frontliners here, their skills are probably going to end up looking something like their weapon skill, their two, well, essentially 4 magic skills, because they're using their secondary one, their main one, which is Divine, and then from there, their 2 augments. They're probably going to have the Kiss abilities, so 1 or 2 of them, depending on how useful they wind up being. The Bind Shackle Stop one definitely is going to be on there. That should make a lot of things a breeze, which hopefully they will be. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of hoping that'll be part of the whole Palace of the Dead thing, because that is a lot of zombies to go through with no exorcism method. See how that ends up going. Because all the rest of it has some shutdown potential somewhere. But POTD... I don't know. We'll see. We will frickin' see. Alright, Toots. Also, this short bow damage has been gross-tastic for some reason. I know I'm saying for some reason a lot. I'm just kind of chalking it up to low-level scaling and light armor right now. Because in a lot of cases, yeah, they're doing a lot. I mean, they're doing more than Lenner. And what's weird is that, like, the heavy crossbows were doing 30s, 60s, that kind of thing. That one mage there with the 104 was the highest so far. But then short bows are doing 50s, you know? Like, that's a little bit higher than I was expecting. And I keep forgetting that he's a crossbow guy. At some point, competence will come, but today is not that day. So it's amazing. Now, every now and then, I'll end up having issues when it comes to the post office, right? Because, well, I end up sending out deeds pretty frequently. Pretty much part of what I do for a living is buying and selling, you know, cheap bits of land and whatnot. So I end up sending out deeds pretty frequently. And so, you know, normally I just go to the post office, drop off a letter, get a tracking number, all well and good. It takes them a little longer some days. But still, you know, it gets there most of the time. Of the 4 that I've sent in the last few weeks, 3 of them have run into friggin' issues. Like, they've just gone missing. One of them, to the point where I'm, like, calling every single post office along the way, because basically there was a sale I was relying on to basically make everything fall into place for the month. And they're waiting on that thing to arrive before moving on any other ones. And so this, I called the post office in their state. It's like, yeah, we don't have it. We'll look around, though. So I wait a few days. Don't get a response, so I call them back. You know, keep yelling and yelling until I finally get to their manager there. I mean, I'm not, like, actually yelling, but, you know, louder voice to some degree. Learned a while ago, yelling is not the way to go. But in some cases, people will not listen unless you do. Any dang ways. So, point being, nothing really resulted there, so... Finally, you know, I get to the supervisor there, you know, they take another look at it. They're like, oh, you know, we actually never got it at all. This is literally all just automated information. There is not a single time in which it shows scanned anywhere outside of your state. So I go and I call the one here. And they look around, they can't find it. So I call the store where it went from. They're like, you know, we can't find it anywhere, and it's literally just a hole we pop the thing into. So they end up finally, you know, going and, like, opening up a case and everything. It's like, how does that even happen? How does it disappear without a trace as soon as it goes into the box? And I wish that was the only one. The others got delayed or just flat out went missing somewhere else. Ridiculous. Oh well. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know if the post office got affected by the shutdown. I don't think it did, because I think that counts as an essential service, kind of. Feels like the sort of thing that would be, because they rely on mail a lot. And that would be a lot of things potentially stuck. No, I don't know. I should probably Google that later. Probably should. Will I remember? Hell no. I'll forget almost immediately. Oh well. Such things happen. Welp. This is taking a little bit of a minute, isn't it? Dang, pointy ears taking forever to actually fight anything. It appears our initial accidental stat disadvantage, or advantage with some weird numbering. You know what? Stuff was a little bit jank at the very start because I put in the wrong numbers, but stuff appears to be getting a tad more difficult now because they can't actually kill stuff off as reliably. As long as it's not a squishy wizard type and they have a heavy crossbow. I mean, this fight's whatever, but I mean, even with the advantage here, I'm not terribly confident in going after Nebith yet. I'm not terribly confident in doing the fight in Rhyme either. We'll see. We'll see. One of these days, though. One of these days, one of these runs will make sense. So, I think after this, and after, I mean, the whole multiple fairy run type of situation, I think after this is done, I'm gonna try the no-skill run. Because that was kind of barely possible in base game. I'd imagine it'll be far more so in this one. You know, I can't imagine it being as absurd as that one got. But that does seem like the kind of thing that ought to be pretty challenging. Should be more strategic than relying on friggin' charm darts for everything. That, if you missed it, by the way, which probably did, I think just about everybody, whoops. I did it dumb. I think just about anybody that was looking at this came about after I did that one, several months after, in fact. But, in a nutshell, it consisted of pretty much just over-leveling up until about the middle of Chapter 2. Then as soon as Charm Darts became available, it was just ridiculous. It was just basically running around, literally Charm Darting everything, making them fight themselves, to the point where in, what's it? In the Zabus fight for that one, literally their entire team was against each other, and apparently he can be charmed. Who knew? But, yeah, so, just like their entire team was just beating the hell out of each other. It was mass chaos, and it was beautiful. So, you know, something like that. How are your guys' skills going? Pretty well. It's gonna take a while to level those up, and I can't really level them up in grind fights because we'll just end up over-leveled in no time. And at that point, we're gonna run into problems, because then we're gonna have an equipment deficit. It shouldn't be enough defense to the point where it would become impossible, but it would become a problem. Could probably just rely on casters for a while until that equipment dropped. Maybe. It's an idea, I guess. It's a stubborn wretch line? Yep. I'm getting that more often lately. It actually shows up in this one because he's not dead within like 3 rounds. Slap. I think if we end up crossing the 30 thresholds, probably around the end of Chapter 2, it should be alright. Because at that point there would be good enough stuff available that it probably wouldn't make too much of a difference to be a couple tiers behind. Not 100% sure on that one. And I think we are going to go for total annihilation on most of these maps due to that same leveling thing. Just because I want to get them their respective skills as much as possible. Also, this is Steve after all. He does not know when to stop. Now, what's your skill looking like? 39? Would like that to be higher. Now that I look at it, there's this one precursor. Precursor. Wow. First off, try through it. 1 sec. Delicious H2O. I know. So if you ever had those Bionicle things growing up as a kid, if you were a guy in the 90s, odds are you did. But anyway. They had a precursor to those that didn't do as well, and I forget what they're called. I actually had one somewhere. I know at this point my niece has it. I basically donated my entire Lego set to her a while ago. I kinda was expecting a lot of really dire crap a few years ago, but I was like, you know what? Give away everything I value so that somebody else can value it, because I'm expecting nothing good. Anyway. So, what ends up happening is, they had these things that were kind of like these weird, like, hunchback little disc thrower dealies. Like, for lack of a better term. Alright, those guests are going up pretty fast. That's pretty good. But yeah, no, they're kind of cool. But the gremlins kind of remind me of those. Like, if you look at them, they have that little thing going up their back. Well, arguably, that could just be a wing, actually, looking at it. Because then what's that part on the right? You know, I never really looked too closely at their portrait. Because on the right, there's just like a kind of blobby area, like a shoulder, I guess. But then that would be one really beefy bicep for such a tiny thing, so... Is that really what that is? Yeah, but I mean, they have that little circle thing, and they show the little tiny arms. Could be a wing on the back. Whatever, they kind of look like these things. Okay. Skill-wise, what can we buy? Alright, removes debuffs. That's good to know. Well, you guys have Pumpkin Strike. Fantastic. Alright, this one is very good. Let's see. I might want to get Lure on the frontliners once they get defensive enough. Well, either way, we're not going to be getting... I forget what the other Kiss move was. We're not going to be getting the third one for a while. Alright, what can you learn? I mean, Steel definitely. Steve is all about that stealing, and he's the only one really getting into close range reliably now, so he's probably going to be the resident thief. Alright, these ones, I'm just going to give each of them a slot, because I'd like to train them all at the same time. And we'll see about giving them Lure later. That might be useful. I'm sure you just have them, if they're hanging around mid-range anyway, maybe lure some people past the front. Might be an idea. You learn that. And then for our frontliners... Yeah, they can't learn a slot yet, so you're just gonna stay as you are. Alright, well that'll be that for that. And yeah, see you next time.